Hi, this is Deborah. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to set up a custom domain to go with your site. A lot of you are using the free address that came with your Pressable account, which includes the part mystagingwebsite.com. So if this site is for a client or even just for yourself, you will most likely want to add a custom domain. And it's important to do this step before you go further with your SEO efforts later in this week's lessons, so that Google and other search engines index the correct version of your site's address. So I have purchased a custom domain from Namecheap. You don't have to use Namecheap. You can use another provider if you want. I like Namecheap because it's inexpensive and reliable, has a good reputation. You may already have your domain from somewhere else. That's fine too. I'm going to demonstrate using Namecheap, but there are so many variations that if you are using a different registrar, then you will need to consult their support documents about how to do this step. So in the Pressable knowledge base, there's an article called How Do I Assign a Domain to My Website? And there's two steps to it. There's an easy method, which is to point your name servers to Pressable. That's the method I'm going to show you. There's a more advanced method, which is to point an A record. You can also do it that way, particularly if you already have email set up somewhere else. You wouldn't want to change your name servers because that would disrupt your email. You would want to use the A record method. But I will go ahead and show the name server method. So over here back in my Namecheap panel, I went and I clicked on, in the name servers area, it had said Namecheap Basic DNS. I changed it to Custom DNS, and then I entered the first three. You don't have to enter all six. It's okay to enter just 3 of the 6 that they show here. And once you make any changes in here, you will see a little check mark or an X show up over on the right. The X would be to cancel your changes and not save them. The check mark is to save them. So I have just saved those name servers. And it says, please don't do that again right away. Allow us 90 seconds before switching your name servers again. Well, I had already taken this step, so it should be fine. I didn't change them to anything new. The second step that it will talk about in this knowledge base article is to go to your Pressable site settings, which if you're on your main Pressable sign-in screen, you will see it'll look like this. And you'll want to go and click on settings under your site name. So my site is Save the Bees. I'm going to click on settings. And then it shows me some site info. It shows me where I can send a support request if I get stuck. I'm going to keep scrolling down till I see the launch your site area. It says to launch your site, you need to do the following. 1, point your domain to Pressable. That is the step that I just did by updating the name servers. 2, add the domain you want to use below once you've completed this step. So in here, under enter a domain, I'm going to type in my domain name, which is savethebeesdemo.com. And I will set as primary domain. And now let's go down and talk about a few other things. SSL is included by default on your Pressable site. That means that you will have an HTTPS at the beginning of your address, and you will have a little green padlock show in the browser address bar. This is just an additional level of security that is provided by Pressable on all sites. And I want to talk about also the 2 versions of your site address. You can have a version with www, or you can have a version that does not have that. In my opinion, the www is a little outdated. It's a little bit of extra typing. It's unnecessary. I don't include it on my sites. The important thing is to either always include it or never include it. This will help your Google and other search engine results because they won't be saving 2 different versions of your site. My preference is to not include it. So the settings I have here mean that if someone were to inadvertently type in the www trying to get to my site, they'll be redirected to the non or naked version of that domain name. And finally, let's just say a quick thing about mail settings. If you should happen to have your email hosting through one of these three providers, G Suite, Rackspace, or GoDaddy, you could click one of these buttons to automatically connect your mail. If you prefer to use a free provider such as Zoho, which is a great provider, then you would have to go through a few more steps to set up email on your domain. And there are knowledge base articles about it, as well as Pressable support can help you. It's a little bit outside the scope of what we're doing in this lesson. I just wanted to mention that it is available to you. So my site should be showing up by now. We'll go over and check that out. And here it is at https, the secure version, savethebeesdemo.com. So that's how you get your custom domain.